sure.
We can see it was cold this morning. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Some of them were still
Sums it up
there.
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Still got, yeah, you still got, you gotta get that fixed. Who's in charge of that? It's not worse. It's about
What's strange is that this guy right here is my same shaped head. I mean, I look at him and I go, it's me, but it looks like me. Well, they're
standing up?
no, they're it's actually these,
Oh, okay.
like me and this guy right here are the same height. He's standing on a
Okay.
broom.
Yeah.
And he's actually like it's a very steep hill.
It is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call the work of the city council meeting to order. First item on the agenda tonight is the invocation given by Councilman Gilmore, and then the pledge of both American and Texas flags, which I will lead.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Amen.
Will join me in our pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. We have several proclamations that we'd like to present tonight. First off, if I could have all the men and women that are here for the Motorcycle Awareness Month, if y'all could come forward at this time, please. Come on, Dan. You're going to take the pictures, right? You know, we do this every year for the last several years simply because we do need to be aware that sometimes there are people out on the road that might not have quite as much protection around them as we do riding around in our cars, our SUVs, and some of our big pickup trucks, which I'm sure y'all have some of those also. But sometimes there are people that are on motorcycles, and you know what's unusual, as Chief tells me about it, is that usually they're the ones that are taking extra precaution and making sure that they obey the laws and abide by the rules of the road. And yet sometimes we in the larger vehicles don't take time to make sure we're looking out for others. So we want to make sure that we offer them the opportunity to enjoy the roads of America just as much as we do. So we want to do the proclamation this month for them. And then I'll give one of y'all an opportunity to speak. If one of you would like to, y'all can think about who's going to be your spokesperson. Oh, she is. Okay. That's what you get for staying back there, see. Whereas the safe operation of a motorcycle requires the use of special skills developed through a combination of training and expertise, the use of good judgment, plus a thorough knowledge of traffic laws and licensing requirements. And whereas with the onset of the number of motorcycles on our streets and highways increased dramatically. And whereas motorcyclists and motorcycle interest groups continue to demonstrate support for motorcycle safety programs offered by both beginner and advanced riders. And whereas during the month of May, motorcycle organizations nationwide will hold various events to promote motorcycle safety and awareness with the hope of raising public awareness of motorcycling and of motorcycle riders, not for just one specially designated month, but throughout the year as well. And whereas urging all citizens of our community to become aware of the inherent danger involved in operating a motorcycle and give the operator the respect on the road they so deserve. Now, therefore, I, Dean Euchert, and Mayor of the City of Louisville, on behalf of the Louisville City Council and all of our citizens, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2013 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month in the city of Louisville, Texas, and urge all residents to do their part to increase safety and awareness in our community. So what I'd like to do is have you come forward and say a few words to our group.
Face them or?
However you want to do it. You want to turn around and face
Yeah,
them?
I'd
That'd be
rather
better.
face them than have my
You
back
bet.
to them.
You bet.
My name is Connie. I'm with the Denton chapter of ABATE. What we do is we do a lot of charity work for the cities and things. We do a lot of safety programs and things. We've got an AMSEF program right now that we're getting off the ground, and we're going to put it in the colleges and anywhere. Any company or anybody that wants to see the program is more than welcome. We will come and show it to y'all. It just gives you a lot of little information on just to watch twice, to look out for us, to be aware that we are there. And, just keep your eye out, because I know the motorcycles are, I don't know, they're smaller than the cars, and my favorite saying is cars have bumpers, we have bones. So just keep your eye out and watch out for us, and I want to thank the mayor and the council for having us here and having May as the Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do want to thank them. We do want to thank them because they do a lot of work for charities throughout our community. One of the biggest things they do is our motorcycle toy run every year. I'm sure you've seen it on TV. They do motorcycle toy runs all over the Metroplex area, but they come out each year and help our children that are in need. So we thank y'all for all that you do. And so if y'all want to all come up here, and we'll get everybody shoot in like you like each other. We'll let you get in front. Yeah, like we like each other.
Flying card.
Ready?
Thank y'all so much. Let's get
Yeah.
Because you're... Smile, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
And next we want to do something that honors some of our team members here at the city of Louisville and are very dear to my heart, and I bet they're very dear to your heart, although sometimes we don't take the time to stop and think about them. When we get up in the morning to take that nice, warm, hot shower, or we turn on that tap in the middle of the night, want to get a drink of water, or when we need to make sure that bathtub's draining or the toilet's flushing, where does all that go? When we drive to work, how do we get there on our roads and streets? We need to make sure that we give those people their due acclamations and awards for making sure that we have some of the best drinking water, some of the best roads, some of the best wastewater treatment plants in the entire Metroplex area. We've won awards every year for our drinking water for about, the last 15, 20 years, I think, something like that. They do a wonderful job. So at this time, I'd like to ask Kelly Rose and, I hope I'm getting these right, Glenn Barker and Toby McGuire to come up. Now, is this all? Okay. Is that Rose or Rouse? Rouse. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Now, they don't do all the work. They have a great leader here in Carol Bassinger, and I'm sure they would attest to that also. But they do a lot of the work here in our community. We really want to thank you and all the people you work with each and every day. And please pass our appreciation on to your team workers also, how much we appreciate what you do for our community, for our city. With that, whereas water is a basic and essential need of all humankind and all living things to sustain life, and whereas water is a limited resource that we should use wisely and the water supply protected by preventing pollution and conserving water, and whereas public works and utilities provide essential services needed for the protection of health and welfare of our community as part of their everyday life, and whereas the support of a satisfied and informed citizenry is vital to the professional operation of the public works, utility system, and essential programs such as water production and distribution, wastewater treatment and collection, environmental services, streets and storm drainage, traffic and fleet operations, and public buildings and facilities. And whereas the quality and capability of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public service employees. Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and committed personnel who staff the Public Services Department is significantly influenced by citizens' attitudes and appreciation of the important work they perform and do for us each day. Now, therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, and on behalf of the Louisville City Council and all the citizens of Louisville, do hereby proclaim the week of May 5th through 11th, 2013 as National Drinking Water Week, and May 19th through 25th, 2013 as National Public Works Week, and urge all citizens and civic organizations to understand and recognize the contributions of the Public Services Department in providing for our daily utility needs, protecting the health, safety, and well-being of our community. Proclaim the 6th day of May, 2013. Let's give these gentlemen a big round of applause.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Rouse. I'm the chief operator at the water treatment plant. I just wanted to say to the council members, Mr. King and Mayor Euchert, and the rest of the directors, thank you very much. Without your support, we couldn't do it, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's get a picture here. Thank you, gentlemen. Again, we appreciate all you do. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. Okay. Karen Biggs. You know, a big important part of Louisville over the last, I'll say 10, 15 years has been our tourism industry. You don't really think of Louisville being a tourist spot, but when you realize, and you'll hear here in a few minutes, how many hotel rooms we actually do have, and all of the things that we have now here in our community that bring people into Louisville, not only to spend the night, but to shop at our stores, spend their money with our businesses and our local retailers, and to be part of our community. So today we're honoring, as the state of Texas does also, National Tourism Week. Whereas travel spending in Texas totaled more than $65 billion in 2012, directly supporting 564,000 jobs statewide and generating nearly $4.4 billion in state and local taxes. And whereas the Dallas-Fort Worth area is the top tourism destination in Texas with more than 25 million visitors each year, generating more than $1 billion last year in state and local revenue. Whereas Louisville is rapidly increasing its profile within the region to attract leisure visitors that support the city's 2,500 hotel rooms, 200 restaurants, and hundreds of retail businesses. And whereas the Governor's Office of Economic Development and Tourism has declared the second week of May to be Texas Travel and Tourism Week as a way to recognize the contributions of the travel industry and the vast economic potential of tourism. Now, therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, along with the members of the City Council and all our citizens, do hereby proclaim the week of May 4th through 12th, 2013 as Texas Travel and Tourism Week, proclaimed the 6th day of May 2013. Would you like to say a few words?
Hello, I'm Karen Biggs. I'm the Director of Sales at the Town Place Suites here in Louisville, and I just want to thank the city and the Visitors Bureau for helping the growth of all of the hotels here in the area. We look forward to seeing all of you at the hotels for some events in the future.
Thank you very much. Let's give her a big round of applause.
You're welcome.
Officer Jay Powell, would you please come down and help me with this, please, sir? Did you happen to notice how well everybody's behaving tonight? You can't imagine why, can you, sir? Officer Powell, we want to thank you and all your fellow workers, your team members, for all they do and what they do for us each and every day, not just this month as it is the awareness, but each and every day what y'all do for our community, for making sure that we feel safe when we go to bed at night, when we get up in the morning, when we go to through a dark alley to get to our parked car or something like that, know that we are safe. We appreciate that. And even as much as we appreciate what you do and your fellow team workers do, we appreciate what your families do, because they know when you walk out that door how difficult it can be for you and for them, making sure that you come home safely to them at night. So we want to thank your family members as much as we do you. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated May 12th through May 18, 2013 to be dedicated as National Police Week and May 15, 2013 as Police Memorial Day. And whereas our law enforcement officers are the guardians of life and property, defenders of the individual right to be free men and women, warriors in the battle against crime, and are dedicated to preservation of life and property. And whereas our community desires to remember those law enforcement officers who have been killed in the performance of their duties, now therefore I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 12th through 18th, 2013 as National Police Week, and May 15th, 2013 as Police Memorial Day in the City of Louisville, and urge all citizens to make every effort to express heartfelt appreciation to the men and women who have sacrificed their lives to guard us and our loved ones against all who would violate the law, proclaim this 6th day of May 2013. If I could I ask all of our law enforcement officers and their family members to please stand at this time so we can recognize you. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate this proclamation on behalf of myself and the entire department. Just thank you for your continued support and council for your support. Every day we put the uniform on and go to work, we know that we may be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice. This week, this day in the proclamation is the perfect time for us to recognize that and just take a few moments to think about the people that have paid that ultimate price. So thank you again, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Chief Curbo, you want to come on up, please? We have another special presentation we will make this time, and I'm going to ask Chief Curbo to do that for me.
Thank you, Mayor Euchert, Council, Mr. King, and my fellow directors, and our guests tonight. Welcome, and we're going to present some Medal of Valor awards to 3 police officers tonight. It's a great privilege and a great honor of mine to be able to do that. I'd like to ask Officers Michael Hernandez, Roberto Limon, and John Michael Martinez to please come forward. The Police Medal of Valor Award is given for acts of bravery in an extremely hazardous situation. These 3 officers were nominated by their bureau chief, Chief Jerry Galler. Where are you, Mr. Galler? Back in the back. Thank you for that. The awards committee considered that, unanimously recommended to me the awards, and I concurred with it. I'd like to read the citation for you. On October 24, 2012, at approximately 10:22 p.m., the department received calls regarding a male who was displaying a pistol and approaching cars on foot in the McDonald's parking lot on Round Grove Road. Officers Roberto Limon and Michael Hernandez located the suspect vehicle and initiated a known risk traffic stop. Officer John Michael Martinez arrived at the location to assist in the stop. Officers Limon and Hernandez began directing orders to the suspect. Upon exiting his vehicle, the suspect refused to face away from the officers as was ordered. The officers observed the suspect holding a handgun in his right hand pointed downward. The officers directed the suspect to drop his weapon, but instead he raised his weapon. All three officers fired at the suspect, and the suspect was struck and fell to the ground. Officer Limon handcuffed the suspect and then checked him for injuries. The officers immediately began emergency aid until paramedics arrived. Unfortunately, the suspect did not survive his wounds. The officers exhibited courage and bravery while carrying out their duties, which is a credit to their character and professionalism and is in keeping with the highest traditions of police service. Therefore, on behalf of the City of Louisville and the Louisville Police Department, it is my honor to present each of them with the Police Medal of Valor Award. And I just want to echo what the mayor said before. We couldn't do what we do every day if it weren't for our family members. So again, thank you, family, for being here. And the members of my team that are all here, I'd like y'all to stand again. Thank you guys for being here.
You know, we truly do have a great team that works here in our city of Louisville and makes this such a wonderful place to live. And it's a great honor when you're mayor that you're able to present them with citations, proclamations, and awards for all that they do. We truly do appreciate them. Next item on the agenda is public hearing, consideration of advisability of improvements in the proposed Castle Hills Public Improvement Districts number 5, 6, and 7. Chapter 372 of the Local Government Code requires that a public hearing be held to determine the advisability of improvements in a proposed public improvement district. Notice of the hearing was published in a newspaper of record and included the estimated cost of the improvements, boundaries of the proposed districts, proposed method of assessment, and the proposed apportionment of costs between the improvement district and the municipality. Improvements in each of the districts include water, wastewater, and street infrastructure. The recommendation of staff is that council conduct the public hearing. I do have a couple of cards here. Both these gentlemen do not wish to speak, but they are here to answer any questions that you might have. I have a card by Drew Keith from Grail Madison Court in Louisville, and one from Ross Martin, who is 201 Main Street of Fort Worth. Both of them are here to answer any questions that you might have. Did not have any other questions. Any other cards filled out? Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mayor, I think Mr. Keith did want to make a brief presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says here did not wish to speak. I'm sorry. Beg your pardon.
Yeah, he probably doesn't wish to speak, but we did plan on him speaking, so.
Okay, come right ahead. If you would just give your name and address for the record, sir, and I apologize for that.
Yes, sir. At the pleasure of the council and you, Mayor Ukert, and all the citizens of Louisville and the staff, which gets to work with me a lot. Yes, I'm Drew Keith, Chief Strategy Officer for Bright Realty. My address is 2624 Grail Maiden Court, that's Louisville, but it also is in the master plan community of Castle Hills, which we're here to speak about tonight. I do want to introduce two people who are here accompanying with me very quickly. Ross Martin is counsel from Kelly Hart and Hallman. He is counsel for the developer. And Maurice D'Onofrio, she is the strategic planning assistant. And with that, I make a quick comment. If people have the agenda, they'll notice that it's Drew Keith, Chief Strategy Officer. And I struggle with just exactly what the Chief Strategy Officer does all the time. But today we were hosting a charity golf event out at Castle Hills. And if you'll notice, the president and the CEO of Bright Realty are at the charity golf event, and the Chief Strategy Officer is here making the presentation. So that is one thing that Chief Strategy Officers get to do. It actually is my pleasure to do this because it's been such a great relationship for such a long time. And if the technology works, then what I'd like to do is highlight the fact that this is really about a continuation of a relationship that has gone very, very well for, I think, both parties, that being the City of Louisville and Castle Hills. And it's actually been 17 years. The reason for this picture up there is if you look over to the left or to the west, that's where we are tonight in the City of Louisville in the heart. But over in the red outline is the area that is Castle Hills. And it was almost to the month 17 years ago that this relationship began. And I kind of had a little bit of fun with this morning. I said, you know, it hits you 17 years that we've been working together. And I thought, okay, first of all, does anybody want to hazard a guess as what the best film of 1996 was? It was The English Patient. I was hoping it was going to be Jerry Maguire so I could do Show Me the Money. But anyway, Jerry Maguire was a movie that year, but English Patient won. Favorite TV shows 17 years ago, ER, Seinfeld, and Friends, and these weren't reruns, these were the original. The President of the United States was Bill Clinton. He was running for re-election. I don't think he had yet met Monica Lewinsky, but he was actually our president. And then from a sports standpoint, and this will really bring how long this relationship has been going on to home. The Yankees were the world champions in baseball. University of Florida, just happens to be my alma mater, was the NCAA football champions. But more importantly, the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl was 1996. So it's been a long time that this relationship has been moving along. Anyway, so 17 years ago, a successful partnership. One of the things that I think it's really important to understand is that it was a very innovative and progressive structure that was used when we got together. This is just a zoom in a little bit on the Castle Hills so you can see where the lands of Castle Hills actually are. It's been very effective in actually stimulating growth and really, I think it's important to understand how effective it's been, and we'll get to that in a moment, but does everyone here realize that we just blew through the recession at Castle Hills? We sold over 200 lots a year, and last year over 240 lots in Castle Hills while everybody else was experiencing an economic downturn. So this has really been an engine for our companies, and it's been an engine of growth here in North Texas and for Louisville, obviously. What happens out there is that by forming these public improvement districts, they allow us to really lower the infrastructure costs. And what that does is accelerate development. It reduces the product cost. In other words, it's like very low cost financing can allow the property to be sold for a lower number, meaning single family residences. And that helps build Louisville's future. I think it's really important to recognize here that the master plan community of Castle Hills has homes that range in price from the low 300s all the way up to more than $3 million. That is a huge range, and it gives a huge ability for a different level of customer to enjoy Castle Hills and all of its amenities. So that's something that's been very important to us to develop. There are over 2,800 households out there at Castle Hills right now, and there will be over 3,500 by the time we finish developing just the property that's the original Castle Hills lands. That means there's over a population of 10,000 people that sleep every night in Castle Hills. And not only is it volume, but the quality of life that's been built out there is tremendous. And I think it's a tremendous property that Louisville will probably likely annex someday. So those are some of the key points that I think we should all recognize about Castle Hills and what these PIDs have allowed us to do and to accelerate that growth. This is a map of the districts. Now this takes Castle Hills and breaks it down into the different districts. These districts were really created or separated for financing reasons over time. They all operate on one system, but obviously the key point here is the one I've got in large font. We do all this with using Louisville as the conduit, but Louisville has no financial obligation on any of these bonds that are ultimately issued. We're using the traditional structure on 5, 6, and 7 as we have on the prior 4 PIDs that have been formed and issued bonds. That meaning that through taxes levied by the districts paid to the Public Improvement District and with backup assessments, those are the vehicles that generate the cash to repay the bonds. So there is no obligation from the city of Louisville. It's actually the Louisville the landowners in the Louisville ETJ, which is principally the Bright companies at this time on these new PIDs that are being formed. You know, we've talked a lot about success out at Castle Hills. This is something that I thought brings it home very well. When you look at these charts here, this shows, first of all, how many bonds have been issued in the first 4 PIDs. And that totals about 102, 103 million of total bonds issued. The current outstanding today is 83.6 million. That's how much, if you had to write a check and pay off the bonds today, it'd take 83.6 million. So they have been reducing themselves. They're all long-term bonds. However, I think the next 2 numbers are even more important. If you look over there at the total column, you'll see that in 1997, the ad valorem tax value of the land we know as Castle Hills was a little over $31 million. Today, the 2013 preliminary tax rolls are $1,425,000,000. That is tremendous growth that has been created out there in large part because of the help that Louisville has been to the Castle Hills development. And not only that, success also turns itself into sales revenue. Because of the very good relationship we have with the city of Louisville, we were able to do a limited purpose annexation through a strategic partnership agreement since I've been there in the last 5 years. What that did is allowed us to go ahead and levy sales tax within the water districts out there at Castle Hills. Well, what that has done is in the last 12-month period, including the first quarter of 2013, just in the last year, that's generated $553,000, almost $554,000 of sales tax revenue. That sales tax revenue is used to help Castle Hills pay for the emergency services that it contracts with the city of Louisville. So that's where the $439,000 goes to. The first $439,000 goes to the city of Louisville for contracted services. And then there's $114,000 left over in this rolling 12-month period. That gets split approximately 50-50. The city gets $57,000 in this example, and the Castle Hills districts get to enjoy the other 50% roughly, and that's another $57,000. So this has led to a very, very good relationship in things other than just the issuance of bonds. I also think it's important to recognize how often the city of Louisville gets to enjoy the success of Castle Hills. These are some of the principal awards that Castle Hills has won on a national and regional and local level. They're mostly dominated by Home Builder Association, but actually in 2012, with the longevity of Castle Hills, that culminated in Community of the Year Award, the Gold Award, at the National Association of Home Builders Convention. And that is a huge feather in the cap of Castle Hills, and it's also Louisville. Every time one of these awards is brought up, the question is, where is Castle Hills? Louisville, Texas. That's a great name association that I think has a lot of value. And I look at also the city of Louisville here real quick. The new PIDs really are all upside for Louisville. There's a symbiotic relationship there. We recognize it. I would say that Louisville was there when we were born, and you've helped us grow. It enhances, these future PIDs will enhance the value of Castle Hills and the opportunity for future annexation. There's increased sales tax revenues that are going to come from these PIDs. These PIDs are going to be heavily weighted towards commercial development, which is going to increase sales tax revenue, which the city will enjoy. And then the contracted services help pay overhead. One thing I want to tie together is when I look at the city of Louisville's, I guess it's the motto, where it's deep roots. Well, the property out there has been owned by the Bright family for 50 to 60 years, and several of the Bright family members now live in Castle Hills and intend to make that their home for the foreseeable future, as do I. So we're a very committed developer. Also, when I look at Broad Wings, this is a master plan community, and it's a very full spectrum of offerings out there in that master plan community. Lastly, the future, we can't help. The Bright family just loves Bright Future. There's just no getting around it. So we love the whole, I guess, the motto of Louisville. Now, let's talk about these individual PIDs, and I'll try to keep this brief. But PID 5, which would be the next PID, shows an authorized request of the city of $36 million. Authorized meaning authorized by the voters. It's already got an ad valorem tax value of $72.6 million. There is a development called Platinum Castle Hills, which is a over 300 unit apartment complex that's up there in the northeast. It is already built and operating. Also under construction over to the west, just north of that little pink segment there. That is a property that was bought late last year by Trinsic. And Trinsic is already under construction on a 316 unit apartment complex in PID 5. And then in the future, Platinum, as I mentioned earlier, Platinum Castle Hills already is there. They've elected to execute an option, so they're going to be building Platinum 2, which will be immediately next door. Also, we're under contract with Racetrack up there where I guess it's actually where 544 comes in to connect with 121 Business. Racetrack is already under contract to buy that property from us late this year. Kroger will be going in up to the northeast, up there along Josie, where Josie and 121 meet. Castle Hills Northeast is in the very far northeast corner. That's going to be additional residential home development that will break ground early next year. And then finally over to the west, Track K, the property immediately to the west of that area in pink that's residential. That is where we will break ground on an office complex this year. It will be pad sites offered for sale for office construction. And then Tract A and B are more long-term. I know that we have ultimate plans for Tract B to be a boutique hotel there. So in any event, that's what we're looking to do there. As we get fully developed, we expect that to be approaching $700 million, meaning in the next 12 to 15 years, we expect the ad valorem tax value to be in the $700 million range. This is just a picture of Platinum Castle Hills, the Phase 1, and they're the entity that is going to be executing, or they've already executed their option on Phase 2, and we'll start that construction late this year or early next year. PID 6, the voters have authorized $60 million, and that's our request there. Now, this is probably the crown jewel for all of us in this room, because this will be the development that creates the majority of future sales tax revenue. It will produce a number of income-producing properties that will be very valuable to the city of Louisville and be very valuable to the Bright family long term. What we have there is only about $27 million of value. So this is really raw land, all of that land there. It does not have any active development on it today. The two major projects that will occur there are the islands and the bridges, and we expect this to get to about $850 million as it's developed. Now, I want to circle back or talk about these two projects individually. The Islands is to the south of Windhaven. Windhaven is the east-west thoroughfare running along the north end up there of PID 6 in purple. The Islands is going to be probably approaching 3,600 to 4,000 apartment units that will be on that property south of Windhaven. And let me go to that first. This is an idea or a concept, and we're very close to this being the final concept for the bridges. For the Islands, the apartment complex. This would be phase 1. This would be 439 units, most of which will be apartments, 3- and 4-story over a concrete podium with underground parking. And then you see some of these different units in the foreground. Those will be a virtual townhome product for lease. So they will be a vertical townhome product that will be a lease unit with parking underneath. This is not going to be garden-style apartments. This is going to be a very urban-like, very uptown, very upscale apartment development, and it will take a number of years to bring this all to fruition, but the first phase, as I said, would be about 439 units. But that's a good concept of what will happen, and that is the Islands. That's the Islands, which will be the apartment development south of Windhaven. This is a rather spectacular drawing, but it's reality. This is what the bridges is going to be. We already have some of the major tenants that will go there, but this is a view of what the center of the bridges will look like. The bridges is a mixed-use product. It'll have about 500,000 plus or minus of retail space. It'll have 500,000 square feet of office, and it'll have between 1,000 and 1,200 multifamily units over the retail or over the offices. And again, it will be very much an urban type feel with a lot of water, and it will be an absolute world-class spectacular property right here in the eastern edges of Louisville. So this is what we're expecting to do. There will also be specialty retail and entertainment in this property, the likes of which we really don't have here. There will be some really, really high-end type entertainment facilities, including some high-end movie theaters and possibly even bowling or other type entertainment that's really brought to a new level if you've seen some of these properties around the nation. Okay, PID number 7. We just had to kind of put an oval around PID number 7. PID number 7 actually overlays directly all of that property that's shown as District 1C, as in Charlie. And it was hard to outline that, so we just put the oval around it. But that's the golf course, as you may well guess. Right now, it has authorized the one voter in that district was able to authorize $7.6 million to be issued. And it's got an ad valorem value today of $6.7 million. And that's principally the golf course and the improvements at the golf course. Now, that is the Lakes, which is the country club. Right now, out there on that property, we've got under construction the villas at the Lakes. And I've got a picture of that in a moment. And we've also got under construction the new resort-style pool and a multiple tennis courts with a tennis facility down where, if any of you knew where the golf academy was, that's where that's going to be located. Fully developed, we expect that property to be easily worth something on the range of $55 million ad valorem tax value. Now, the golf villas, if you see over here to the left of the screen, the golf villas will be 64 units, which will be a villa-type product starting in the low 300,000s. That's along the present-day driving range, and if you've been out there, you've seen a lot of dirt being moved. The present driving range is being reoriented. You can see where the clubhouse is, and you can see where the pool is there up on the top of this picture on the left. But that's all going in right now as we speak, and we believe that home builders will be building model homes in there by the fourth quarter of this year. So that's underway. The pool, it literally hosted its first event last night with the members, and then again today with the Big Brothers Big Sister tournament. So it's actually there. You can't swim in it yet, but it does have water in it. So they're moving right along. This is a picture from the other angle of the pool and then the tennis courts and that facility down where the golf academy used to be. So, kind of bringing this all together is that forming Castle Hills PIDs 5, 6, and 7, it will continue to build value for Louisville. Obviously, it's going to lead to sales tax revenue with all that commercial. I do want to stress it enhances Louisville's profile and reputation around the world, and it furthers a successful partnership we've had and moves us further towards annexation, really at no cost and no financial risk to the city of Louisville. So as I wind up my statements here, I do want to take this opportunity to thank both the staff who gets to work with me strategizing quite a bit, probably more than they'd like to admit to. But the staff does a great job, and also on behalf of the developer of Castle Hills and as a resident of Castle Hills, I want to stress back last December we had a catastrophic event with our pumps. And I want you all to know, if you didn't already know it, that Steve Bacchus was out there on a Sunday in December and made some key decisions that helped us get back online. And, back to that symbiotic relationship, I just don't know how we can thank the city of Louisville enough for being that kind of a partner to a developer. So with that, I'd close my remarks and offer myself for any questions.
Thank you, sir.
I've got a quick question, Mayor.
Okay, let me close the public hearing first, and then we can ask some questions, because that's for the public. Then you can ask a question. Okay, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Have a motion to close public hearing by Councilman Ferguson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Guerrero. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Council, if you have questions, Councilman Gilmore, I believe you had one.
You had that, this may be getting off into the weeds a little bit, but you had that little 3-hole golf course section right down there by the driving range and whatnot, if I recall?
Yes, sir. There was what they called the practice facility or whatever, and yes, they had the other 3 holes that were on that other side of the power line, kind of to the west. Yes, sir. Those were in operation right up through about mid-February, late February of this year.
I noticed that they weren't in any of the development plans, or didn't look like they were in there. Could you maybe give us an idea what you're going to do with that little bit of property?
Yes, sir. They actually are part of the development plan. If you're familiar with that property, there's a par 4 that came along the northern and western edge. That is going to be repurposed to a short game practice facility. So all of the homeowners that live there and look out over that current view, that view will remain the same. Down south of where the Sword Bridge pool is, we don't anticipate we're going to continue to operate that as a practice facility. However, we have not yet decided what we're going to do there specifically, although we're very sensitive to maintaining that as a green space of some kind.
Well, I want to thank you all for the work that you do. When you do bring this information to us as council, it makes our job a lot easier. So back to that symbiotic relationship.
No, you're very welcome, sir. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Any other question? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate your coming. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And staff.
Next item is the Visitor Citizens Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Did have one card filled out here. Helen Byron, if you'd come forward, give your name and address, Helen, please.
Good evening. My name is Helen Byron. I live at 2210 North Mill in Louisville, and I'm here about the water and sewer thing that's gone through apparently by the city as effective as of March. And just in the past week, I've had 2 neighbors, and this morning a water main broke across from us. I was briefly aware back in March or sometime just prior to March when I received a letter with the water bill requesting that everyone that the city would no longer be responsible for cleaning the water and sewer lines and maintaining them, and that we could take out insurance through private individuals or companies or whatever. And somehow it didn't click at that time. But now with 2 neighbors in the past week having issues, having to pay for their repairs, and both issues concerned problems with this water line on the city side of it. And one of them having to pay $2,900 for a short piece of land from his line to the main city line to unplug it and repair and replace the pipes, which are all clay pipes in those areas. And then the water main breaking this morning across the street from us. I feel like I went online and I found nothing updated on the city site other than the fact that this was the way it is now. I did go back and I saw an article going back to September of 2012 where they mentioned other cities that had gone into this partnership. Some of them are being reimbursed by these companies, insurance companies or contractors, whatever. The cities are being reimbursed or given back some money on these things. And I just feel that this is not right to put all these burdens on individuals as far as being responsible. It's one thing to be responsible for the pipes on your land, but to be responsible for the pipes that are from your land to the main line. And in our case, those pipes run under a street where if they were to break under the street, we essentially would become responsible for that too, I would assume. It's an ungodly cost, and I don't see how the city can justify that. I don't know if this particular city is also in that situation where they get money back from the contractors. They didn't make any reference to the city because it hadn't passed yet in the article that I read. But I still feel that it's an ungodly cost to burden the citizens of this city, which pay the taxes and what have you. And all these pipes, you know, they're all clay pipes. They're all 60, 70 years old in some instances. And then all of a sudden, when they're going to break, and as they are breaking and clogging up, bang, sorry, that's not our problem any longer. So this is all something I wanted to bring to the attention and see if I know that one city has gone back and revoked what they did, and I'd like to see if maybe there was some consideration by this city to also do that.
Okay. All right, what I'll do, ma'am, is...
I know you can't answer me now.
Right. What we'll do is we'll have somebody from the city get with you and go over with you, because the city is still responsible for the stuff on the city property. It's no longer responsible for what's on a private person's property, and we'll have a city staff member get with you and go over that with you and explain that to you, okay?
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
I just know for a fact, though, that that is not happening with 2 of my neighbors.
Well, we'll have a city staff person get with you, and if that is the case, they'll get it fixed.
Okay.
But if not, I think they'll explain it to you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Just make sure. We do appreciate you coming, ma'am. Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Did not have any cards filled out, nor did I have anyone ask for, have any item pulled. Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the items on the consent agenda as posted.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Vaughn to approve the items on the consent agenda as posted, and a second by, I'm sorry?
Rudy?
Who did? Oh, was it you that said it?
No, second.
Oh, I'm sorry. And a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item is item 10, consideration of request for variance to the Louisville City Code, Section 2-201, regarding waiving special event permit fees and a request to utilize associated city property at the Toyota Louisville Railroad Park for the Kiwanis Club of Greater Louisville Toe Tag Triathlon event as requested by Ed Finley, representing the Greater Louisville Kiwanis Club. The Greater Louisville Kiwanis Club is planning a triathlon event for June 16, 2013 at Toyota Louisville Railroad Park. In addition to a request for a permit, the club is requesting a waiver of fees and use of the city property for the event. City Council approved a similar request for this event in 2012. The total amount of the request for waiver fees for this event is $5,615. Recommendation of staff is council approve the variance and use of the city property as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, move to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve as presented, and a second by Councilman Ferguson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is item number 11, consideration of an ordinance to the City of Louisville, Texas, extending the term of an ordinance granting a gas franchise to Lone Star Gas Company, DBA Atmos Energy Corporation, and providing an effective date. Lone Star Gas franchise with the City of Louisville expired on April 1st, 2013. It has been the city's practice to extend the term of the prior franchise until a new franchise is prepared and executed. Staff is requesting an extension of the current franchise ordinance until December 31st, 2013. The proposed ordinance provides for the continuation of the terms and conditions of ordinance number 2323-3-98 pending the execution of a new franchise. The City of Louisville Charter requires 2 readings of this ordinance within 30 days in between. The City Council, the recommendation of the City Council is approve the ordinance and conduct the first reading as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Guerrero?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Guerrero to approve as presented, a second by Councilman Ferguson. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, extending the term of an ordinance granting a gas franchise to Lone Star Gas Company doing business as Atmos Energy Corporation and providing an effective date.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 is consideration of an ordinance by amending the Louisville City Code Article 6, Chapter 4, Single Family Residential Rental Inspection Program, and amending Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-201 Fee Schedule by adding a single family rental permit surcharge fee. Periodic workshops by staff and City Council have been held for consideration of making amendments to the inspection of residential rental properties. The City Council directed staff to prepare the ordinance changes regulating inspection of residential rental properties. The proposed ordinance changes will require registration and will have a surcharge refundable upon completion of the inspection. The program would be triggered by the owner registration, transfer of water services by the tenant or owner, or by complaint basis by the tenant, owner, etc. Recommendation is the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Gilmore.
Mayor, I'm glad to see this one finally coming through. Move to approve as written.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to approve as presented, second by Councilman Ferguson. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 4, Article 6, Division 3 of the Louisville City Code by deleting the language in Sections 4-201 through through 4-204 in their entirety and inserting new text establishing a single-family residential rental inspection program, and amending Chapter 2, Article 8, Section 2-201 fee schedule by adding a single-family rental permit surcharge fee, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Mayor, I have a
Oh,
comment
I'm sorry.
on this, if I
Excuse
can.
me, sir.
I was originally against this, but in the last few weeks, the local board of realtors, the Louisville, Greater Louisville, whatever they're called right now, but they've come out in favor of this now. So with that, I'm be supporting this. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13 is consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 7, Article 18, Oil and Gas Drilling and Production of the Louisville City Code by adding a section regarding water supply restrictions and adding a section establishing an Oil and Gas Advisory Board. At the City Council retreat held in February 2013, staff prepared and delivered a presentation regarding potential changes to the oil and gas drilling and production ordinance. In this presentation, options were presented regarding restricting water supplies for fracking operations during drought conditions, and also options were presented regarding the oil and gas stakeholders group. From this presentation, staff has developed an ordinance language that will allow the city manager to restrict water sales when a Stage 3 water crisis is declared or when providing water for fracking would expose the city to increased water supply demand charges. Regarding the stakeholders group, ordinance language is provided to establish an oil and gas advisory board. Recommendation is that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, Mayor. Obviously, I'm pleased to see these amendments. These were items driven by requests that I had made based on observations that I felt were important to the city. So delighted to move we approve these amendments.
Have a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Ferguson.
Second.
And a second by Councilman Gilmore. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 7, Article 18, Oil and Gas Drilling and Production of the Louisville City Code by adding water supply restrictions and establishing an Oil and Gas Advisory Board, providing a savings clause, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14 is consideration of an ordinance amending the Louisville City Code, Chapter 9, by adding Article 4, Sections 9-86 through 9-87, adopting the 2012 International Property Maintenance Code with local amendments and standards. Staff is submitting the 2012 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code to the City Council for adoption. The new code was recommended by the Neighborhood Preservation Committee and is necessary to augment the code enforcement and building division initiatives. The Community Development Department is requesting City Council approval of the ordinance adopting the reference codes and standards. We do have a request by staff to table this meeting until, table this item until the May 20th meeting. Do I have a motion? I'm sorry?
Move to table.
Second.
Have a motion to table to May 20th? Is that right, Councilman Durham?
Yes.
Have a motion to table to May 20th by Councilman Durham, second by Councilman Ferguson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that takes us to reports. Nika. Bob. Chief.
Yes, sir, Mayor. I just wanted to take a few minutes to remind everybody that this week we are hosting our 6th annual Keeping Tradition Alive Symposium. I'm happy to report that the symposium is full again this year with attendees that have signed up, and the hotel is going to be full during this event. So I know the Hilton is excited about that as well. But would also like to invite you and all the council members and my fellow directors to the opening ceremonies on Thursday morning. If your schedule will allow, breakfast will be served at 7 o'clock, and then the opening ceremonies will start somewhere around 8:30. We're excited to have one of the honor guard members that helps guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers is our keynote speaker this year. So we're looking forward to hear what this member has to share with the attendees of the symposium this year at our opening ceremonies. And then also, in past years, we've had our KTA Jam session in front of City Hall on Thursday nights, but this year we've moved it to Friday night. Tried to expand the event a little bit, so we're also inviting you to come out and share in those festivities with us on Friday night. The event will run from 6 to 11. With the jam session starting up about 7 o'clock. Bring a lawn chair, bring food, or there'll be vendors on site with food and beverages that you can purchase if you want to eat dinner while you're here. Also, we've added to the event this year that the Kildares are going to be playing as well. They're going to play a couple of 30-minute sets. So it ought to be a lot of fun. We're keeping our fingers crossed that the weather's going to hold out for that night, and would ask if you have nothing else better going on, come join us and let's have some fun together. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I know it's a great event each year, and we have a great turnout. And we have people coming from all over the country here to the deal. I know last year we had.
This year, they're coming from all over the U.S.
That's wonderful. It's great to see them here, and we appreciate you working and everybody in your department that works and makes this thing happen, because it's a great event for the city. Thank you, sir. Linda. Chief Kerbo.
No, sir.
Carol's gone. Anybody got anything for Carol?
Not to worry. Brenda actually has the lake report for you, Mayor.
All right. Brenda, do you have a lake report?
Yes, the lake level currently is at 517.09.
And what is normal?
522.
Hey, girl, you go, girl. So we're a little gone a little better, because we were 5 foot now. Now we're a little less than that, so that's good. Donna, do you have anything?
That's all I had.
Just to introduce Brenda, that was good. Mr. Ferris, Mr. Backus. Mr. Backus, again, congratulations on your comments that were dealt earlier about helping out Castle Hills. I know that was a very tough time for those people out there, and that's not the first time I've heard accolades given to you for all the time and effort that you spent making sure that those people did have water when they needed it.
Mayor, I was in the background. It was Carol and Eric and Randy Scott and the rest of the public service team.
Well, thank all of them for doing it. We tell them that. If you'll pass that on, we appreciate it. Councilman Durham.
Mayor, I want to remind the citizens of the election that's coming up this Saturday. We have one more day of early voting. That'd be tomorrow, and I believe is from 7 to 7 tomorrow, the 7th. And Election Day, the 11th, which is Saturday, is 7 to 7 also. And just need to look at whatever polling place you're supposed to go to. Thank you.
Councilman Guerrero.
I just want to add to that early voting is at the annex, though, over there by the library, and that hope the citizens go and look at the issues amongst the candidates and choose who they would like to be. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Gilmore.
Mayor, I just want to let people know that we have had 2 tests come back positive saying that mosquitoes are carrying West Nile currently, and since we had such a mild spring, that is going to be an issue coming through the summer months, so you may see some spraying here in the next few days. Just be aware that our city staff and city council here has put in place a very aggressive program for handling West Nile virus outbreaks, but the best thing is for you as a citizen to wear long clothes at dark and dusk, put on some DEET or some sort of bug repellent, and wander around your neighborhood looking for standing water and throw in a bug pellet or something like that, or let us know, call the city and let them know. That's the best way that we can defend against West Nile.
Thank you, sir. Mr. King.
Mayor, I would only add to what Councilman Gilmore said, that we're doing that spraying beginning tomorrow, roughly in the northern sectors of north of Main Street, roughly, and then the following night south of Main Street. Is that correct? Both sides? Okay. Well, next 2 nights we'll be spraying, and that is based on detections in mosquitoes, not in any human cases yet, in case that question comes up. But again, that's an indication of we're taking it a little bit more aggressively this year. We're not waiting for those human cases, and we'll go after them when we detect them in the test that we have from the traps.
Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, sir. Got the MCL Grand report. Actually, I have to thank the staff. We got this report finally kind of honed down, and so this should go pretty smoothly. Max Stalling, country singer-songwriter, 2011 Lone Star Music Award nominee, will be on the stage May 18th. That's a Saturday at 8 p.m. In the Texas Tune Concert Series. And Louisville residents can buy a ticket for $5 at City Hall Customer Service. If any of y'all were at Marcia Ball, and I know some of you were, the place was packed and it was rocking. So maybe we'll have another evening like that. So come join us. The Sounds of Louisville Summer Concert Series will crank up here pretty soon in June and run through July. First show is, I know it's a little bit ahead, but June 4th, Downtown Fever. They've been with us before. Really enjoyable. Also going to bring back Brave Combo. We'll have the Kildares again. And New Orleans Gumbo Kings. And that's just a few of the acts, so come check that out. Got an art exhibit that just got hung this past week, and it's by Dan Lattimore. He's winner of the Val 2013 Fresh Ideas Competition. I've seen this show, actually saw it before it was hung up. And I think what's just amazing is to walk through there and see how creative this one person is and all the different things that he does and the different media he works in. So go check that out. And then we've got, I'm happy to tell you, we have a kind of major booking women's lending business conference Friday, May 10th. And that's presented by the Louisville Area Chamber of Commerce. And I would just also add, along with some of the other councilmen, you can get one of these stickers for free. All you have to do is go vote, and then later when you're not happy with what we do, you can remind yourself that you've earned the right to complain. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Vaughn?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilor? Julie? Officer, once again, we appreciate you being here, and not only being here, but everything you do each and every day. We appreciate it, and your family for sharing you with us. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, one other thing, if I might.
I don't think so.
Well, I did notice, speaking of the Chamber of Commerce, that our new president of the Chamber of Commerce is out in the audience, Mr. Ray Hernandez. I don't know if everybody here has met him, but Ray, wave at everybody. And he started a couple weeks ago and has been struggling mightily to get a meeting with me, but just keep trying and we'll get it hooked up. But I think he's off to a great start and certainly has opened up the communication channels with us.
Great. Ray, we certainly do appreciate you being here, and I was also going to recognize you. We thank you for coming and spending your time this evening. I know you've kind of got a full plate, but I understand you've really hit the road running and doing some great things already at the Chamber. So we appreciate what you're doing for our community, and we welcome you and your family here to our community. Glad to have you. I also wanted to say, express appreciation and gratitude for everyone for the past several weeks of the prayers and thoughts and cards for my family, and I thank you very much. With that, in accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney pending litigation, City of Louisville versus City of Farmers Branch and Camelot Landfill, TXLP, cause number 412-CV-00782, United States District Court for the Eastern District of Texas, Sherman Division and Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, application to obtain municipal solid waste permit amendment permit number 1312B. And Section 551.072, real estate property acquisition, and Section 551.087, economic development, deliberating regarding economic development negotiations. We will now convene into closed session.
Said about went and got my blanket.
Lights just
Do the
No. They don't? No. See this one right here?
They stay on.
It's only the little push button that goes off.
We'll convene back to regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion to adjourn by Councilman Grina, a second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so what I was going to do in there